If you're part of a nonprofit, you probably know the feeling. You are drowning in data, but you're just starving for some real insight, right? You've got this avalanche of metrics, but what do they actually mean for your mission? Okay, let's dive into that and build a really clear plan to help you measure what truly drives your impact.
So here's our roadmap. We're going to start by talking about a hidden trap that snares so many nonprofits. It's called the vanity metrics trap. Then we'll get into how to escape it by learning the difference between data that just feels good and data that actually does good. After that, we'll build a simple, powerful framework, see how it works in a real-world example, and then wrap up with the key takeaways that are going to totally transform how you measure success.
All right, so let's start with that all-too-common problem, the vanity metrics trap. This is where so many really well-intentioned teams get stuck. You feel super productive, but you're not actually moving the needle on your core mission. It's a tough question, I know, but we have to ask it. I actually worked with a nonprofit once that was just thrilled because their website traffic had doubled. But when we really dug in, we found that none of that new traffic was turning into donors. So their metrics were telling them this happy story, but it was basically fiction. Are your metrics telling you the truth, or are they just telling you a story you want to hear? Let's figure that out.
This brings us to probably the most fundamental distinction you need to make. Seriously, understanding the difference between a vanity metric and an actionable one is the first big step toward building a data strategy that really serves your organization.
So what even is a vanity metric? Honestly, think of it like candy for your data dashboard. It's sweet, it's tempting, and it gives you this quick little sugar rush of positivity. Your website visitor count, your email open rates. These numbers can look big and exciting. But just like candy, they offer zero real nutritional value for your strategy. They look good, but they don't actually lead to any better decisions. And the contrast here, this is what's really powerful. While vanity metrics are just a dead end, actionable metrics are your roadmap. They answer the single most important question you can ask. What do I need to do next to improve my results? That's it, that's the key. If your metric doesn't point you toward a clear action, it's probably a vanity metric. Okay, let's add another layer to this. It's not just about vanity versus action, it's also about when you measure. And this is the crucial difference between leading and trailing indicators. One of them helps you shape the future, and the other one just reports on the past. Leading indicators are kind of like your crystal ball. They're predictive. They measure all the inputs and activities that you believe will lead to success down the road. So for example, tracking the number of personal thank you calls you make to donors each week, that's a leading indicator. It predicts future donor retention. Trailing indicators, on the other hand, they're like your report card. They look backward. Things like your annual donor retention rate or the total funds you raised last quarter. They tell you if what you did in the past actually worked. Now, they're essential for validating your strategy, but they come too late to change the outcome. I mean, by the time you get your report card, the semester is already over. And this is really where it all comes together. Look, you need both, but you have to act on the leading indicators. They're what allow you to make those little course corrections mid-flight. Relying only on trailing indicators is like trying to steer a ship by looking only at its wake. It just doesn't work. All right, we've defined all the concepts, so now for the practical part. How do you actually build a system that works? Let's walk through a simple 5-step framework that will get you there. First, always start with your strategic goal. What are you actually trying to achieve? Second, figure out the predictive leading indicators that will get you there. Third, and this is so critical, simplify. You don't have to track everything. Fourth, create a system of accountability, maybe a weekly check-in. And finally, be ready to evaluate and adapt your metrics as your goals evolve. This right here is the absolute key to making that third step work. Your goal is not to track more data, it's to track the right data. Aiming for just 3 to 5 core metrics forces you to be clear and keeps your entire team focused on what truly matters most. Less is absolutely more here. Now, a framework is only useful if it actually works in the real world. So let's put this one to the test and apply it to one of the most common goals for any nonprofit, improving donor retention. This is where all the theory becomes action. So the crucial point here is that we're starting with a clear strategic objective. We're not just measuring stuff for the sake of measuring it. Our goal is super specific. We want more of our donors to stick around. And we make that goal even more powerful by putting a number on it. We're not just going to improve retention. We're aiming for a concrete target, a 10% increase over the next 12 months. Now we have a North Star to guide everything we do, and we can build our metrics around hitting that number. So, how are we going to get there? We're going to get there by tracking these leading indicators.
Notice how these are all actions the team can control today. How many touch points did we make this week? Are our gratitude updates going out this quarter? These are the activities that predict whether or not we'll hit that 10% goal at the end of the year. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's wrap this all up by summarizing the most important lessons and highlighting the common mistakes that can just derail your efforts. This is what you need to remember to really succeed.
These are the classic traps, right? And they're so easy to fall into. We track useless data because it's easy to get. We create these overwhelming dashboards because we think more data is better. And we fail to build in accountability because, hey, we're all busy. But that last one, ignoring omissions, that's a really powerful and often overlooked idea.
Just think about this for a second. Being strategic isn't just about deciding what to do, it's also about deciding what not to do. By explicitly writing down what you are choosing to ignore, you give your team permission to focus. You protect them from distraction and all that scope creep.
So if you're going to write anything down from this whole session, this is it. This is your cheat sheet for meaningful measurement. Ditch the vanity for action. Look forward with leading indicators. Keep it simple. Connect your big goals to small daily actions and hold yourselves accountable. This is the path to real impact. And that leaves us with one last thought. To make room for what really matters, you have to let go of what doesn't. So, what's the one vanity metric, the one number that looks good but doesn't help you make a single decision, that you and your team will agree to stop tracking starting tomorrow?